What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Goshen Games. I am Goshen, and today is Wednesday, so today we are talking about Metroid Prime. Now, we are discussing it not as an individual game, we're going to discuss it as a trilogy. And, you know, on top of that, we're going to do a review on it as well. The game started off, or the series started off on the GameCube. So Part 1 and Part 2 are on the GameCube. Part 3 is actually on the Wii. So from there, they went ahead and they also released Metroid Prime Trilogy Collection for the Wii. So those who missed out on the GameCube were able to play it on the Wii. There's a couple of things about the game, right? The game changed the way we view Metroid. It really did. Metroid, before Metroid Prime came out, Metroid was a 2D side-scroller, which was probably one of the best 2D side-scrollers to ever come out. Next to the Mega Man series. I mean, those two probably are top two, right? So this one changed the whole format and the whole formula. When this came out, it came out as a first-person shooter. At first, everybody was kind of a little bit iffy about the idea of having a first-person shooter Metroid, although it did fit very well. But once the gameplay videos started coming out and the trailers for it started coming out, then everybody's view of it just changed because the graphics were phenomenal. The way that the game design flowed, it felt very comfortable in the GameCube controller. And then looking at all the environments and everything brought to life in the Metroid world, you know, in full 3D aspect was just, it was mind-blowing. Before this game came out, the last Metroid game we had was on Super Metroid. So we didn't even get a Metroid game on Nintendo 64, which a lot of people actually, we were waiting for it. We were waiting for a long time to get a Metroid game. I would have loved to have played a Metroid game on Nintendo 64, but I'm glad they took their time. I'm glad they decided to release it on the GameCube. You know, the GameCube at the time was probably one of the most powerful systems. It processing power-wise and everything else, it was more powerful than the PS2. And then with the Xbox as well, it was probably on par with the Xbox, probably actually a little bit better in rendering. So, you know, the graphics that this game was able to push out was stellar compared to the other two, to be honest with you. That's why we had so many, you know, high quality games like Resident Evil Umbrella Chronicles, we had Metroid Prime, we had the Super Mario Sunshine. You know, there were a lot of good games for the GameCube. And so anyways, going back to Metroid Prime, the way this game is set up, it's set up for the everyday player, right? You don't need to follow the story to play this game. And in actuality, Metroid Prime is supposed to be a prequel kind of reboot in a sense, as it takes place before the first Metroid game. So before Samus even knew about Metroids or anything of the sort, we had Metroid Prime. So a little bit about Samus Aran. Samus Aran is a female bounty hunter who travels through space, and she usually works alone. There are some other talks of different characters, which actually we get to see them when we get into Metroid Prime, I believe it's Hunters, or Metroid Prime Bounty Hunters, as well as Other M, which is a prequel before these as well. Well, it's a prequel sequel because Metroid Prime Other M takes place before and after the Metroid Prime series, and then after Metroid Super, or Super Metroid, I'm sorry. But anyways, this is not a review on Metroid Prime Other M. This is Metroid. This is on Metroid Prime here. So, you know, when I say it's for everyday player, like I said, you don't have to follow the story. You don't have to follow the lore. It's a first-person shooter. It's a fun game as a game by itself. So, you know, for those who are new to the series, or for those who just decided to pick up this game just for whatever, it's very easy to get into. I know I played this game non-stop. I played the other two games as well. Part 3, for some reason, it took me a little bit of time to beat Part 3. I put it down. I think I overloaded myself with games at the time, and so I didn't finish Part 3 until a couple years after it came out. But nevertheless, once I dedicated my time to Part 3, I couldn't put it down. It was just that good. Especially even more so on the Wii, because it just felt even better on the controller. The way that we had to target everything ourselves, It felt so good on the Wii. And that sounds so dirty. Wow. Anyways, so graphics wise, this was ahead of its time. It still holds up, and I would love to see I mean, Nintendo's famous for doing remakes and HD remakes and all that stuff. I would have loved to have seen a full-on HD remake come out for the Switch or be announced for the Switch, on top of a new Metroid game. You know, don't get me wrong. I want to see new games. I don't like seeing HD reboots, unless it's been a while, and it has been a while for the Metroid Prime series. This game came out in, I believe it was 2002. Yep, 2002. So this game came out in 2002. So you're talking a good 15 years ago. And we haven't had an HD remake. We had, like I said, the Metroid Prime Trilogy release on the Wii. But let's face it, the Wii was not an HD unit. In actuality, graphical-wise, it was on par with the GameCube. There was barely any difference between them. And I did mention Umbrella Chronicles before. I made a mistake. Umbrella Chronicles was on the Wii. What I meant to say was Resident Evil 4 was on the GameCube. But yeah, so, you know, the Wii did not have, or was not that much more powerful than the GameCube. The only differences were the controllers and the interactive aspect of it. So I would love to see an HD remake of this game because of how crisp it was at the time. And with the capabilities of the systems nowadays, the Switch would just be beautiful. I mean, everybody look at Zelda Breath of the Wild. It's just gorgeous. And again, I would love to see a new Metroid. So, okay, now that we've discussed the game a little bit, let's go into the review. Okay, like I said, to play this game, you don't have to follow the story. To be honest, I don't really follow much of the story in the Metroid games. I play them as individual games, with the exception of the trilogy, Metroid Prime Trilogy, because it takes place one after the other. The only real Metroid game that has a full-on story is Other M. So with that being said, like I said, you can go into these games and just play them through as games, as you know, as a casual gamer, not following the story, and that's a good thing, because it makes the game feel new, it makes the game feel fresh when you play it, and you know that's a good quality to have in a game. Does it work for every game? No, it works for these type of games. It works for Mega Man games, you know, because most of them don't follow a specific story. It's the story combined or confined to that one game. So like I said, the graphics wise was ahead of its time. They still hold up. You know, I can go ahead and put this into my Wii, and I can play it on my television, and the graphics still look phenomenal. The score, the music is always eerie. It's always haunting. That's just the Metroid theme, and you know, the way that they do it is just that's one of the reasons why people would love to see a Metroid movie, and you know, kind of in the sense of an alien type of atmosphere, because it's a creepy game. It can be, you know, the music alone, it makes it into a creepy type of game, and everybody who's a Nintendo fan, you just hear the beginning of the Metroid theme song, and you know Metroid. You know, there's certain things that I still do when I'm playing games. Like, for example, when I play Dead Space and Isaac is changing his outfit, in my head, I'm thinking of the theme song or the music that plays when Samus is upgrading her armor. Which I believe is actually the same music when Samus arrives onto a planet. That's what I hear when I'm playing Dead Space. So that's just what kind of an impact that this series has. So just to rate the trilogy, okay? I'm gonna rate the trilogy for you guys. I'm gonna give the trilogy a 9 out of 10. This game was perfect in every aspect of the way that it can be for a Metroid game. The only reason why I don't give it a 10, is because of the story aspect. This game, or you know, is very hard to follow story-wise, because you know, who are the Chozo, who are the space pirates, who's Samus, what are the Metroids? You know, you have to read a lot of the artifacts that you find. You have to read a lot of the data that you find in the games. So it makes it hard to follow the storylines if you want to follow the story. That's the only reason why I give it a 9 out of 10. Otherwise, this would be a perfect game. Or the three of them, in my opinion, would be perfect games. Like I said, this game, when the first Metroid Prime game came out, it completely changed the series to the point that when we look at Metroid now, we want to see more games like Metroid Prime. That's one of the reasons why Other M got hit so hard. One of the reasons, and so we haven't seen, since Other M, which was released on the Wii, we haven't seen a new Metroid game. As far as the main series goes. There's been some spin-offs here and there on the 3DS, and I guess that's fine. That's not what I want to see. I want to see a new full-on game. I mean, that's it. It feels like the first-person aspect in Metroid Prime is perfect for the setup that the Switch has. So that's what I want to see. I want to see a new entry to the series, and I guess make it a little bit easier for those who want to follow the story to be able to follow it. That's the whole reason why I'm not going into the story, is because it's a little, it's not that it's confusing, it's just it's hard to follow because you have to read everything into it, and I didn't. I mean, I went through the game and I played it, and I collected the articles in there, I collected the artifacts, I scanned everything that you have to scan. I 100% completed the map in Metroid Prime 1. I didn't for the other two. So it's I don't even remember 100% of everything that was going on because there's just so much stuff that you have to piece together yourself. And that's the whole reason why I don't give it a 10, and that's the whole reason why it's not a perfect game in my opinion. But it's damn near close to it. So that's gonna be my review for today. If you like this video, if you like the Metroid series, go ahead and hit that like button, do me a favor, and subscribe, as Vegeta is saying there, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you very much for joining me today, and you guys have a great day.